The story begins with a famous singer who was now sick and bedridden. Her children were with her. Her eldest daughter was Renee. They had spent all their savings on their mother, but in the past year, her condition had not improved. Their lives had come to a standstill because of her. So Renee decided that everyone should return to their daily routine. They left a bell with her so that she could call whenever she needed help. The children went back to school. Her son, Tony, loved her very much because she always took care of him the most. Every day she would come home and comb her hair. But today, something strange happened. All her hair started falling out along with the comb. Suddenly, a strong wind blew and the window opened. When he closed the window, he saw that she was staring out in fear as if she had seen a ghost. He was also scared and left the room. The next afternoon, the same thing happened. When Renee brought food for her mother, she saw that her eyes were looking at the ceiling and she was very scared. When Renee tried to leave, her mother dropped the dishes and rang the bell loudly to stop her. But Renee thought that her mother's condition was getting worse and she was panicking. So she gave her mother some more medicine and put her to sleep. At dinner, Tony told Renee that her mother had been very scared looking out the window yesterday. Renee had seen it too, so she told her father that they should leave the house, but he refused. In the middle of the night, Renee saw that her father was talking to her mother in secret, and she fell silent as soon as she came. Renee then went to sleep in her room. Later that night, she was woken up by her mother's doorbell. When she went to check, she saw that she was standing by the window, wrapped in a large white cloth. She was very surprised and happy. She felt that her mother had recovered and was able to walk again. But as soon as she touched her mother's shoulder, the bell started ringing loudly again. This time, she saw her mother in bed. She was scared. She was very scared. When she looked back, the woman standing by the window was gone. She was very scared as soon as she woke up and realized that it was just a dream. As soon as she opened her eyes, she heard her mother ringing the bell in her mother's room. She went inside and everything was just like her dream. Her mother was standing by the window. She quickly looked towards the bed, but her mother was not there. This meant that it was her mother standing by the window. As soon as she touched her mother, she fell into her arms and died in agony. The next day, the funeral took place, and everyone thought that now things would be normal, but it was not so. Renee's youngest brother woke up in the middle of the night and screamed after seeing a shadow in the cemetery near the house. Meanwhile, Tony heard a doorbell ringing in his room. He went into his mother's room and turned on the light and saw that the doorbell was vibrating on its own. He was so scared that he hid in his bed. The next morning, when he turned on the radio, instead of music, he heard a doorbell ringing. Frightened, he turned off the radio, but then he realized that his mother's comb had suddenly fallen into his hands. Frightened, he dropped it. He turned on the light, and the radio stopped, and the comb disappeared. Tony believed that these were his mother's things, and that she could not rest without them. So the next day, he went and buried the things in his mother's grave. That night, the two younger brothers got up to use the bathroom. They were frightened by the picture of their mother in the hall. So they decided to cover the picture. They took a large sheet and threw it over the picture. But when the sheet fell, it covered an invisible object, as if it were a person or a ghost. Seeing this, they screamed in fear. Hearing their voices, everyone else also ran for help and saw that everything seemed normal. The sheet was only on the picture. But the children said that they saw someone else there, moving towards them. Renee became worried and realized that her mother was not getting rest and was still in the house. The next day, she organized a prayer service where she met her neighbor Hendra, who told her, "I saw a scary figure at your mother's funeral, and I have seen the same figure at your house many times." Hendra and her father could see the dead. This means that they could see spirits and even talk to them. But because Renee did not believe in these things, she did not call them. When she returned home, she couldn't find her grandmother anywhere. In the previous scene, we saw that the grandmother, who was always in a wheelchair, had gotten up and was walking towards the bathroom. Then we are shown that Renee was looking for her, while her younger brother went to the bathroom and started screaming. Renee and the whole family ran towards her. She told them that the grandmother had fallen into the well. They pulled out her body. The child who had seen all this was in shock and had a fever for several days. Renee was very sad about the two deaths. While searching the grandmother's room, she found a letter on the table. It was addressed to a man who knew about spirits. Seeing this, Renee felt that there might be a big secret behind everything that Hendra had said. She felt that this man might know that secret. Renee had to find out what was going on, so with Hendra's help, she went to the address of the letter. Renee introduced herself and showed her the letter written by the grandmother. The man invited them in and told her, "Your grandmother and I were childhood friends. I wanted to marry her, but we couldn't. Still, our friendship never ended. I used to go to your house often. Since I could see spirits, I knew all the strange things that happened there. I knew that your mother couldn't have children. But when I came back later, she had 4 children. I found out that she had obtained the children through a ritual. She had used a spell, but she didn't know that it was a deal with the devil." The man gave Renee a book about the ritual that her mother had done. Back home, Renee and her brother read the book and learned that a devil could help a woman become a mother, but in return, he would take the last child as a sacrifice. After her 4th child, Renee's mother learned the truth. When the cult members came to take her son, she protected him because she knew they would come back. She was afraid that the cult would take her youngest son. To protect her family, she continued to have more children, hoping that a larger family would help. But after her 7th child, her health deteriorated and she became bedridden. While Renee and Tony were reading this, Tony panicked and said, "My birthday is in 4 days." But Renee told him that nothing bad would happen. That night, the youngest brother went to the bathroom. When he opened the door, he saw that his mother's spirit was inside. Terrified, he froze. When he tried to run away, he felt as if someone had grabbed his shirt, but his shirt was only caught on a nail, and the spirit that looked like his mother started moving towards him. But he freed his shirt and ran away. He hid in a trunk all night, and in the morning, Renee and the whole family were looking for him. Renee found him in the trunk. Renee was now very worried about her brothers. To help them, he decided to pray. While praying, he felt someone following him. It was the same spirit that followed his brother. When Renee finished praying, he looked back and there was no one. When he looked back again, the spirit was in front of him. He screamed so loudly that everyone came running. Renee told her father, "It's not safe here anymore. We must leave this house." In fear, she decided to stay at Hendra's house. Then Renee got a call from the man with a letter. He asked Renee to come to his house immediately, but Renee could not leave her brothers, so Renee offered to go to his place. When he arrived, the man gave Hendra a letter and said, "Everything is written here. Tell Renee to read it carefully." When Hendra was going home, suddenly a spirit came in front of his bike and he fell. Immediately, a truck came and crushed him, and Hendra died. It was clear that no one wanted Renee to know the truth. Hendra's body was brought home, and while picking up the body, the letter fell from Hendra's pocket on the ground. Renee sees it fall from his pocket, and when she picks up the letter, in the middle of the night when Renee was closing the windows, she saw Hendra's spirit outside. Scared, she tried to close the window, but someone grabbed her hand and tried to pull her out. She screamed loudly. Everyone heard her screams and ran towards her, and her brothers saved her. Everyone was very scared. Renee asked her father, "Will we go only when everyone is dead?" Her father promised to leave in the morning, but that night, terrible things started happening. When Tony took the youngest brother to the bathroom, the door suddenly closed. He tried to open it, but it wouldn't open. The father broke down the door, but his son was missing. Someone had pulled him out of the well. The father jumped into the well and saved his son. The rain was pouring down. Renee saw many people standing outside in black clothes. The rain didn't bother them. Renee and her father knew that these were slaves of the devil. They had come to take their youngest son for sacrifice, but no father would give up his son, so the father closed all the doors and windows. But the next moment, Grandma's chair suddenly started moving on its own. She jumped into the air and fell towards Renee's dad, trying to kill him. Renee's father runs into the corridor holding the two children to save himself and his two children. Then another table flies at them. This is because of an invisible spirit. He tries to run away, but the doors close. Renee's father tries to open them, but they are trapped. They get locked, which Renee's father tries to open again and again, but the door does not open. Outside, they see a spirit dressed in black. She was controlling everything. Seeing her, the younger son tries to hide, but the spirit pulls him. When his other brother saw this, he tried to catch her to save her, but he also failed. The demon throws the child and runs out. The doors open, and when they go out, the child is gone. They are very sad, but they knew that the demon will stop now because he got what he wanted. Renee's father stood outside and watched the cult members scatter red seeds around the house. Renee also saw the seeds, but didn't know what they meant. The next night, the bad things started again. The cult returned to take the fourth son. Today, they were forcing their way in. Renee and her father tried to block the door when they heard a voice at the back door. It was the man with the letter who had come to rescue them. The father told the children to run to the car and realized that the door was no longer locked. It was the spirit of their grandmother who was helping them. She had given her life to gain the strength to fight these demons from the afterlife. The family got into the car and finally drove away. They felt that the danger was over. But the devil never leaves until his work is done. They lived peacefully in the city for a while, until a new neighbor arrived. She brought them food every day. Little did they know that she was also a slave of the devil with the same demonic seeds. These seeds increased the dark powers and allowed the demons to return. This meant that Renee's family was about to face an even greater danger than before, and the film ends here.